In today's video, we're going to show you how to set up your QuickBooks Online account. As a certified QuickBooks user, I've set up dozens of QuickBooks Online accounts, and I'm really excited to show you everything that QuickBooks Online is capable of and some tips and tricks to getting your accounting up and running with QuickBooks. So when you log into your QuickBooks Online account, you will notice that there are a couple of different ways of navigating to all of the features in QuickBooks Online. It can be a little overwhelming, but taking some time to just understand the layout of QuickBooks first is a really helpful step in getting it set up. So one of the main ways to navigate QuickBooks Online is using this sidebar. QuickBooks has recently added this really cool bookmarks drop down. It's all completely editable. So this is where you could customize it to save features that you use really regularly and you want to access regularly. And then there's also this menu option. This is QuickBooks Online's default setup. Again, this is also customizable. You can go in here and choose exactly what you want to see. And you can even break up the order of the sections. So say I want to see the menu first and my bookmark second, I could do that really easily. In this menu, you'll see things like your dashboard. Dashboards are really helpful. They're just kind of your overview of your company and how it's doing. QuickBooks has multiple dashboards to choose from. There's the home dashboard, which is just kind of a general analysis of the current state of your business. It shows your bank accounts, profit and loss, expenses, things like that. There's one that's specifically for cash flow, which is really helpful, and then a planning one as well to stay on top of tasks. Other things you'll see are sections for sales, which would include like invoices, estimates, your customers, expenses. Here we have a spot that's just for customers. So again, you'll see that you can kind of navigate to multiple features in different spots. We have all of our reports. If you use payroll with QuickBooks Online, there's this option. If you don't, you again can go into that menu and toggle that option off. And then we have projects, budgeting, taxes. Some of these features may vary depending on which version of QuickBooks Online you're using. So if it looks slightly different, it might just be because you're using a lower version or a higher version of the plans with QuickBooks. But that's a really basic rundown of kind of how we're going to navigate this account. And to get started on actually setting up our account and using it, there are a couple of things that we're going to want to do. You can either manually add your information into QuickBooks, or you could import it as well. So if you only have a couple of customers, it's easy to go in and add them one by one. If you have hundreds of customers, having your CSV file ready to import is going to be the better way to go. The things you're going to want to do are getting your customers in, getting your products and inventory in, getting your invoices set up. Those are really important and the first things that I usually do when setting up an account, just so that you're ready to actually get up and running. And then you may also want to get in some backwards data. So you might want to add past sales, past expenses, past payroll if you're using QuickBooks Payroll, things like that. If that information you can maybe take a little bit more time on, you might not need it right away. So in this video walkthrough, I'm going to show you specifically the things that I do so that I can actually start using QuickBooks right away. You can, if you want, go into the features and start adding your customers. You can edit your invoices from here. I find it's easiest to start in the settings section. It's not a very glamorous way to start setting up your account, but it's the easiest way to see everything that QuickBooks offers and kind of just get things rolling all in one spot. You'll see on our dashboard currently we have no logo, no company name. All of these things are things that can be fixed through settings. You can fix them here as well. QuickBooks is very user-friendly in that there are multiple areas you can go to add all of your information. It can make it easier and harder, but so you can kind of just choose which way you want to go. We're going to start in this settings section we're going to go to Account and Settings first. We're just going to slowly work our way through the whole settings. So here's where you would want to add your logo in. So you'll just click that Edit button and choose your logo. This logo you'll see on the back end, and you also can add it to your invoices so that you look really professional to your customers. Then you'll add in your company name. If you're working with a DBA, you'll want to uncheck this and put your actual company's legal name. If your company's legal name is the same as your company name, you can leave that checked. You'll want to enter your EIN or SSN number. And once you've done all that, you can click Save. So next you want to go into your company type. This information is going to be really helpful, especially come tax season. So first you're going to want to fill out this tax form drop down. This is where you will select which type of business you have, whether you're a sole proprietor or you're incorporated, or even if you're a nonprofit. This information is really helpful to have in QuickBooks because then the software knows what information you need come tax season. If you don't know what type of business you have, or if you're wondering if you should switch from being a sole proprietor to incorporating, we have a lot of great content over at Merchant Maverick about the different types of business structures and the benefits of each. So if you don't know, you can click this Not Sure and Other option, head on over to our website, read up on which one would be best for you, and then come back. And then next you're going to want to enter your industry. So you can type in, it's going to have a bunch of default kind of drop downs. So if you're like us, we're in publishing, and there are several to choose from. If we don't, we can just use the one we wanted, and then we're going to click Save. Next, you want to go into your contact information and just double check that it is all correct. Here is where you could differentiate between the company email that you use for your QuickBooks Online login versus which customer-facing email will appear on your invoices and to your vendors and things like that. So if you have a separate email you want vendors to see, you can uncheck that box. You can add your company phone number in, and then you can add your website, which will also appear on certain forms throughout QuickBooks. You can click Save. Then you just want to keep repeating this process for your company address, customer-facing address, legal address. Just kind of go through each edit box and make sure everything's correct. I know it's not the most fun way to jump into QuickBooks, but it's the way that will make sure that all of your information is correct and that you have everything set up, because you're not going to want to do this later. Once you get through all of that, you can go to the sidebar and kind of start looking through the other tabs. This is just showing how many users you have, a couple of other things that are limited in QuickBooks, like how many different accounts you can have in your chart of accounts, how many tag groups, that kind of thing. Nothing you need to set up here. QuickBooks Checking is one of QuickBooks' new services where they offer an online checking account that you can integrate directly with QuickBooks. This does not pertain to you. Skip on down. The next thing that you're going to want to actually pay attention to are the sales section. So here's where you can adjust some of your invoice terms. So if you bill on a net 30 for invoices, awesome. This will be great for you. If not, you can select, due on receipt. If you give your customers net 60 terms, select which option works for your business. Then you can select preferred delivery methods. You can also toggle if you charge for shipping on your invoices. You'll need to toggle this on to have an invoice or a shipping field on your invoice that you can bill. Then there are also some custom fields that you can choose to have visible on your invoice or not. QuickBooks makes this really great, this feature in particular, because a lot of invoicing software, you're stuck with whatever default fields the engineers made, and some of them might not apply to your business. So in this, you can create custom transaction numbers, so you don't have to have the first invoice you send with QuickBooks say 0 or anything like that. You can add a service date if you're a service-based business. You can add discounts if your company offers those, as well as charging deposits for your invoices, which can be really helpful, especially for like construction-based businesses or handyman services where you need some money up front to do the work. You also can choose if you accept tips and then tags. And this is a great time to kind of show you this little question mark spot in QuickBooks. If you don't know what something is in QuickBooks, you can click on this at any time and it will kind of give you some more information. So in this case, tags, it says, lets you add tags to track sales in a custom way. So if you say you are construction-based business and you offer construction services, but maybe you also wholesale products sometimes as well, you could have a tag that is for your service invoices and a tag that's for your product-based invoices so that you can make your reporting really easy. So this is something you'll want to toggle on if that's interesting to you. You can always come back and change it if it's too much right now. Don't worry about it. There's a lot to take in, so totally understandable if you want to come back later. The next part is going to be your invoice payments. So if you want to accept invoice payments using QuickBooks Online's payment processor, here is where you would click Activate for that. If you don't know about QuickBooks Online payment processing, again, we have a lot of great content about this at merchantmaverick.com. We review their service and also their pricing and kind of compare it to the industry standards and let you know when it's a good fit for your business and when it might be better to use an integration instead. If you are interested in that, head on over there. If not, you can just skip this for now, or you can go in here and just adjust your payment instructions for the time being. Next, you have products and services. This is another good one to make sure that you adjust. It wants to know if you want an SKU column, if you want to turn on price rules, which is a new beta feature, if you want to track the quantity with prices, and tracking inventory on hand. So if you only have so much inventory of one product, this is definitely something you want to have on. It's on by default, but just make sure that all of these are toggled to what you need. Next, you'll kind of repeat the same thing for if you charge late fees, for if you want to be able to have progress invoicing. This is where you can create multiple invoices from one estimate. So if you are a consultant or if you're working on a long-term project and you want to bill more regularly than just when the entire thing is complete, progress invoicing is great. Next, you can edit the default email message that gets sent with your invoices, which saves a ton of time. And that's a great thing to just set up now so you can just be done with it. Same with reminders. You can set if people are late on their invoices or if their invoice is just due soon. You can set automatic email messages for invoice reminders to help you get paid faster. Next, if you have online deliveries, and then this says statements. So if you want to show their current statement, you can also turn it off, whatever works best for your business. You're going to repeat the same thing for expenses, and you're just going to kind of work through one by one. And this has to do with expenses, purchase forms, whether you track expenses and items by customer, or if you just track them in general, things like that. You also can choose if you want to have purchase orders. If you do have purchase orders, you can set default purchase order email messages, which is, again, a great time saver. So just go through each little section one by one. This account and settings section of settings is like going to take you probably the longest of all of them. It gets faster and easier, but you will thank yourself for doing this work down the road. Next, here's a dedicated spot for payments. So we already kind of talked about this in this sales section because you could activate it there. You can also activate QuickBooks payments here, or you can skip it, if you take stuff by check, or if you have a different integration that you use for payments, don't worry about it. Next is the time tracking setting, where you will choose what is your first day of the work week. And you can kind of choose a couple of the fields that appear on your timesheets as well. So if this is especially important, if you allow time to be billable, you'll want to make sure that that setting is configured correctly for your business. And then this advanced tab is just a few random setting options, but there are some really important ones in here, especially for accounting. So this bit you will definitely want to edit to fit your business. You need to check the first month of your fiscal year. It's going to default to January, but if that's not the first month of your fiscal year, you'll want to get that updated. Same with the first month of your income tax year. You'll also want to choose your accounting method. Now, most businesses are going to use accrual accounting, and we recommend accrual accounting most of the time. There are cases where cash-based accounting just is a better fit for your business style and type. This is something you'll want to consult your accountant on. It's also something that we have some content on our website of how to choose between accrual and cash basis accounting. And we're happy to help with that. But you'll want to select which one your business uses. It's really important for how invoices are appear in QuickBooks, and also how income is credited to your business. That's the main difference between accrual and cash basis accounting. So this is kind of integral to making sure your account is set up correctly. Next, we have a close the books section. Again, in any of these, if you have a little question mark, sometimes it's just a little tip. Other times it's going to take you to a full help article from QuickBooks. This one also has some videos. This can be really helpful information if you're not sure what your answer should be. So go through these and make sure they're correct. This is a tax form one. Again, then you also have your chart of accounts. You can enable account numbers if it makes looking at your chart of accounts easier. If you're not sure what a chart of accounts is, I highly recommend downloading our Beginner's Guide to Accounting. You can find it on our website or linked in this video. It's going to explain exactly what a chart of account is, why you need it, and how it works. QuickBooks is going to have a default chart of accounts already built into the software, so you don't have to worry about it too much right now. But yeah, we highly recommend going and reading up on this if you're not sure what that is. And if you're not sure what it is, you can just leave this section of the settings alone for right now and let it go to the default. Next, you can have an option for categories. You can track classes and you can track locations in QuickBooks. They're both optional. And then there's some automations. So you can have QuickBooks automatically pre-fill certain forms with previously entered content. It can save time, but it also could maybe be troublesome for some people who just want it to be blank. So, choose which one works best for you. Same with a couple of things like automatically applying credits, automatically invoicing unbilled activity, automatically applying bill payments. Some of these things can be helpful and save time, and some of them might be too much. Next, you can choose to have the product features on or off. So if you do projects in your business, this is really helpful. If not, maybe you don't need this feature yet, or you want to ignore it for right now and just continue with the stuff that is more important for setting up. Next, you'll want to set your home currency, and if you accept multiple currencies or not. And then there's some other just little preferences to work through, like what date format your company uses, if you have a currency format you prefer. So I just highly recommend reading through all of these and getting them to what your business needs. And then once you've done that, you can continue through all of the settings and set things up this way. Like you could work through your chart of accounts. If you go to the lists bit, you could add your products and services here and that kind of thing. But I generally find it easiest to start, once you have those basics of settings done, to start working within the actual software. So if we want to start invoicing our clients, and start getting paid for our work and start being able to balance the books off those payments, one of the first things you're going to want to do is just get the ability to send your invoices up. So to actually send invoices, you're going to need to make sure your products are set up and that your customers are set up. One of the cool things about QuickBooks is that you can do this directly from your invoices. You can add a new product as you are invoicing, or you can also go into each section and add things as well. So you could go directly into customers, and you have the option to import customers if there are a lot. There's a little how-to video of how it works. It's generally pretty intuitive. It just takes some time. That's kind of the name of the game when setting up your QuickBooks Online account. You want to give yourself time to do it. It's going to take a while, but it's worthwhile to make sure it's done properly. And the other option is you can add your customers manually. You can do that from this screen, or you can also do that from your invoice. The same kind of goes for inventory, and it's not going to appear as the title inventory in QuickBooks. It's going to be under sales, and it's going to be under products and services, because QuickBooks knows that, not every company is built with a classic inventory. Some people sell services, some people's products are not inventory based. So you can go in here and you can add your items as well. An important part of this particular section is to add if you purchase this from one of your QuickBooks vendors or from a vendor that you track in QuickBooks. This will allow you to have some additional reporting, but you want to add all of that information for your items that you track. And again, you can do that from those two screens, or you can go straight to invoices and you can jump right into creating an invoice. Again, I just want to point out that for every feature section that you open when you are first starting with QuickBooks, you're going to see something like this, like a video or like an explanation article, plus a little kind of blurb about what this feature is, why it matters. And this is really, really helpful for if you're just kind of not sure what to do or what to prioritize. But it makes it easy to kind of understand the feature, having these videos. And there's also often a tips and resources section at the bottom. It has some things like, this is how to record a customer payment on your invoice, just some things that QuickBooks thinks will be helpful for using this particular feature. So it's really great because, setting up your QuickBooks account is a long process, and we didn't want to make a 5-hour video for you. So this will be really helpful to know that this information is there and where you can go for additional help. Yeah, next, if we want to actually create an invoice, we can hop on in, and it's going to give you the option to take a tour of the feature. You can watch a video, or you can take a tour and it will show you how it works. So this tour has 1 of 5 steps. It's kind of just going to show you the different elements of the invoices and where to access the information. And this can be really helpful if you haven't used QuickBooks before. Obviously, you can skip it if you feel confident in your ability to do this. So if you had added your logo in settings, this would be automatically appearing here. If not, you can always add it right here. You can also edit any of your company information directly from the screen to get it to how you want to appear. And again, here is where I was showing that you can add customers directly from an invoice. You would add new, and you could type in all of their company information, the customer display name, if that's different than the company name, their email, phone number, most anything you can think of that would be helpful for them. And there's also a spot for attachments, which I was going to highlight, that is helpful, especially if you're working with a contract. You can attach that contract to this invoice or a sales agreement like that. You can put all of that in there. You can set a payment directly tied to a customer. So you can save their payment information, which can be really helpful. And then you can add some additional information as well. Like if this is an existing customer, you're switching over for maybe another accounting software and they have an opening balance, you'll want to make sure you add that as well. And once you do, you'll just click the green save. Next, you can add tags. That's what we talked about when, if you want to add a tag to differentiate between services and products, or, maybe there are other ways that you can think that would be helpful for your personal reporting to divvy up your income. That's all customizable. And then next you would add your product and service. Again, you can add those here by default. Add new if you want it to repeat. So you can bill by hours, by services, or by adding a product. Once you get all of this filled out, you'll notice that there are some fields on the bottom about like payment options, notes to the customers. You can edit all of this straight from your invoice, which is super helpful. Some of these will default up here if you adjusted them in the account and settings section. But once you do all that, you'll also notice that there are options to customize the fields here. Again, this is something we changed in settings. So there are just multiple spots where you can set things up. Same with payment options. Design is one that is worth highlighting for getting started with your company. You can add your exact logo colors and what kind of font you want. This is the spot to adjust this. This isn't by default in settings or anywhere else. But it will save your past choices. And then there's also the option for scheduling. So say this is a recurring invoice, you send it every month. You can click this, and then you can add some settings to this recurring. So you could set it to the first day of every month, 15th of every month, whatever works best for your business. You can set it to recurring for 6 months, and then it ends after 6 months, or you can say it's recurring forever and always. These are just some really helpful. And then once you do that, you can save the template, and that will be the default template that you can use for all of your invoices. Once you start sending some invoices and receiving some payments, you're going to start seeing your dashboard actually populate with information, which is really fun to see as a business owner. You'll start seeing your profit and loss report, your expenses, cash flow trends. You'll even see down here how many invoices you have unpaid and paid. And then it's going to really start feeling like you did it. You set up your QuickBooks Online account. You're getting rolling on your accounting, and you can start focusing less on the accounting software and focusing more on just running your business and letting the accounting software just really help enhance your processes and your bookkeeping. We hope that this video was helpful and that you feel a lot more confident on where and how to get started with setting up your QuickBooks Online account. We wish you all the best with your accounting, and stay tuned for more videos.